Have you ever felt like you were growing up too fast? Maybe you have a child in your family that you feel like was growing up too fast. Maybe you have an experience of growing up too fast. I know I do. So in this video, we are going to be checking out the psychology of a child who grew up too fast. This is by Psychology Simplified. I'm going to try to do as best as I can. We're actually giving shout outs to the original creator of the videos I react to. I have a bad habit of not doing that. But, yeah, they will all be shout out in the remainder of my videos.
When someone asks about your childhood and you just freeze, like the answer isn't quite there. Not because it was terrible or because nothing happened, but because somewhere between the age of 7 and 17, you skipped about 15 chapters. Yeah, that gap is what I want to talk about today. There's this thing that happens when childhood ends before it's supposed to. And I'm not talking about some dramatic, movie-worthy moment. Sometimes it's quieter than that. It could be making dinner for your siblings at 9 years old.
I think I actually had to do this. I don't got siblings. I'm my only child, but I think my cousins would come over. I had to make them something at like 9 when I was a kid. I had to be like the big kid, even though I was still a kid. But yeah.
While your parent works a double shift, or becoming the translator between your parents during their arguments, or even learning to read the
type shit. I'm not gonna even lie. This is relatable as hell. To me, at least.
The room before you learned to read chapter books. Something that doesn't get talked about much is this. That version of you, the one who had to grow up too fast, that part of you doesn't disappear. It still influences how decisions get made, even right now. Let me illustrate this better for you. There is a kid, maybe 8 years old, and they've just become the most responsible person in their household. Not because they chose to, but because they had to. And something shifts. Psychologists call this parentification, when a child takes on roles and responsibilities that should belong to adults. But that clinical term doesn't quite capture it, does it? It doesn't capture the weight of being small and holding up something so much bigger than you. Dr. Lisa M. Hooper, who's done extensive research on this, found that parentified children often develop what looks like exceptional maturity. But, and this is crucial, it's not actually maturity. It's a survival adaptation.
Yeah. I don't really think, like, I'm definitely one of them kids that grow up too fast, but I don't think I ever got more mature. I feel like I got more mature, but it's not really maturity when I'm looking back. It wasn't really maturity. It was more of like isolation, like just be by like just kind of like forget all that, be by yourself. Like that's kind of like how I was. I'm still young as hell now. I ain't gonna disclose my age, but I am still young as hell right now. I'll let y'all know how old I am whenever I reach however many fucking subscribers. I don't know. Just watch the video. Shit.
It's a child's nervous system learning to operate in crisis mode as the default setting. That idea tends to linger. What felt normal to you was often someone else's crisis. Now, many people who grow up
that's real.
This way notice they become very good at certain things. Reading people's emotions, you could sense your mom and dad's mood the second they walked through the door.
True.
Anticipating the needs of anyone before they voiced them,
True.
Problem solving became second nature because the alternative wasn't really an option. Where it starts to show up later is here. Those same superpowers you developed, they come with a price tag you didn't know you'd be paying 20 years later. You know what's quite fascinating? Children who grow up too fast often struggle the most with the simplest things, not the big life challenges as you might expect. Somehow they can handle those with their eyes closed. It's the small stuff, asking for help, resting without feeling guilty, being, I don't know, silly, carefree. Those feel almost dangerous to them. Because when you learned early on that the world doesn't stop for you and that your needs come second, that stability depends on your ability to hold it together. You didn't just learn a lesson, you built an entire operating system around it. And that system is still running. Let me tell you what this looks like in adulthood. Often, people like this become the ones others rely on in a crisis. The reliable one, the one who just handles things. You're attracted to people who need fixing. Now, I know that makes it sound like you have a savior complex, but it's actually because being needed feels like love. It's the only kind you learned to recognize.
Damn.
Relationships tend to
This shit
get
getting
tricky.
deep.
Intimacy feels exposing because being vulnerable, that was a luxury you couldn't afford back then. So even now, even when you're safe, even when you're with someone who genuinely cares, there's this part of you that cannot let your guard down, that will not let your guard down. You might find yourself attracted to emotionally unavailable partners, and before you blame yourself for that, understand this. Unavailable feels familiar. It feels like home, because home was a place where you gave endlessly, and receiving, that was rare. So when someone offers you consistent love and consistent presence, it might actually feel oddly wrong, uncomfortable, like waiting for the other shoe to drop. There's also this thing with control. And no, I'm not talking about being controlling in the toxic sense, though sometimes it can manifest that way too. I'm talking about that deep, primal need to manage every variable in your environment, because unpredictability once meant danger and chaos, meant everything falling apart. So you plan, you overthink, a lot, might I add. You run through 17 different scenarios before making the smallest decision, and people might call you type A or anxious or perfectionist, but what they're really seeing is a child who learned that letting their guard down had consequences. The exhaustion is real, by the way. That bone-deep tiredness that sleep doesn't fix, that's not laziness nor weakness. That's what happens when your nervous system has been in overdrive since you were in elementary school. Your body never learned what true rest feels like because rest wasn't classed as safe. Rest, in fact, meant things might fall apart. Here's something that might hit hard. A lot of people who grew up too fast have this weird relationship with success. You achieve things, good things.
Yo, this is describing me kind of good. I ain't gonna lie. The relationship part, not really, but like right here, this shit is damn. I'm different now, but like growing up, this probably was me. I ain't gonna lie.
Impressive things, but it never quite feels like enough. There's always this voice saying more, better, faster, prove yourself, because your worth got tangled with your usefulness way back when. And the cruel reality, the world actually rewards this. Society loves people who grew up too fast. If you think about it, we're productive. We're often independent. We don't need much. We're low maintenance, and we get things done. But nobody asks what it cost us to become this way. There's something else that happens too. You become fluent in a language most people never have to learn, and that is the language of emotional labor. You're able to manage a room full of tension, kind of like a conductor leading an orchestra, diffuse conflict before it even starts because you spot it as it's about to happen, make everyone else comfortable while you're drowning inside. And the strangest part, you might not even realize you're doing it anymore. It's just automatic, like breathing. Except breathing is supposed to keep you alive, and this slowly empties you out. You probably have moments where you're surrounded by people, friends, family, coworkers, and you still feel completely alone. Not lonely in the obvious way, alone in the sense that nobody really sees how hard you're working to keep everything smooth, to keep everyone okay. And asking them to notice your effort feels, I don't know, like admitting defeat. Like you failed at the one thing you were supposed to be good at. So what do you do with all of this? How do you heal from something you're not even sure counts as trauma? Because it wasn't one big event, it was 1,000 small moments of being too much and not enough at the same time. First, you have to grieve. And I know that sounds dramatic, but you're grieving something real. You're grieving the childhood you didn't get to have. The version of you who could have been messy and needy and irresponsible and still been loved. That kid deserved better, and saying that out loud doesn't make you ungrateful or bitter. It makes you honest about the truth. Secondly, you've got to learn, and this is the hard part, that being needed isn't the same as being valued. That your worth isn't measured by what you produce or how well you can manage other people's emotions. You are not a human doing, you're a human being. And being is enough. You're allowed to rest, to not have all the answers for once. You're even allowed to be the one who falls apart sometimes, and to receive without earning it first. And maybe most importantly, you're allowed to be a beginner at being taken care of, because that's what you are. The fact that you're 30, 40, or 50 doesn't change that you never really learned how to let someone else hold the weight, so be patient with yourself as you learn. That child who grew up too fast, they did an incredible job keeping everything together. They were resourceful and strong and brave beyond measure, but they can rest now. They're not forced to run the show anymore. It's safe to let someone else take a turn. It's safe to just be young at heart, even if you're late to it. You've been holding on so tight for so long. What would it feel like to finally let go? If this hit home for you, please subscribe.
Damn.
And if you want to support...
I ain't gonna lie, I might got a sub. This shit was deep. This was deep. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Some of these qualities I feel like I don't have. But that's because I'm old. Like I'm older now. Like I'm an older kid now. When I was a younger kid, like this shit was me to a T. I ain't gonna lie. Niggas was just solving problems on everything I love. Niggas was just solving problems. I did not like to rest. I wanted something, so I just kept fucking going over and over. Like I wanted something out of life. So and then it was just like niggas just kind of had to be like strong all the fucking time, and it was cause like I was most of the time the oldest kid or like in the room, so it was like it was different growing up, cause it would be like even though like I had older cousins and shit, and like older family members, but like they was like with their group. They was never with like me and my group, and for some reason I was always the oldest out of my group. So it was just like me having to like watch over shit or like fix some shit that fell down or like make up a cover up story for some shit. Like it was always me like kind of picking up the mess. But I don't know. Let me know if y'all a child or a kid that grew up too fast. Let me know y'all experiences. Let me know what happened to y'all and why you feel like all of this, like how you explained in this video. And damn, this was a deep ass video. But peace.